So the current details on patch 1.4 were finally released and there's a lot of changes, so let's get right into it. On the aesthetic side, you can paint floors, walls, furniture, and lights custom colors. This is an amazing way to give your colonies a more unique feel for each different playthrough. This mechanic will tie in with the Tinctoria crop, which has harvestable dyes. To top this off, you can now use the styles of different ideologies, giving even more freedom when designing your base. There's even new carpet colors. Now let's get into the functional changes. Shelves are now more useful and can store up to 3 stacks of most items. There is even a 1-tile mini shelf. This is amazing, as shelves before only served a function in preventing decay and mood debuffs. Now it actually makes sense to have a storeroom for larger stacks of materials like wood and steel. Boiled corpses and meat now release gas while decaying that can cause a new disease called lung rot. This only applies to rotten corpses, so frozen corpse chambers are still an option, and just make sure to take care of raiders in a timely fashion. And if you prefer your enemies alive, then look no further, as there is a new type of prisoner that has the unwaveringly loyal trait. This trait makes prisoners unable to be recruited, but don't worry because you can still sell them, donate them, and there are at least 2 new uses for prisoners in expansion, being gene extraction and blood farming. On the combat side, we have 2 new types of turrets, the foam turret and the rocket swarm. The foam turret shoots fire foam to extinguish nearby blazes, while the rocket swarm obliterates a wide area with small missiles. The interesting part here is that the rocket swarm requires a manual button to be pressed to fire off the missiles, so you can't just hide behind your automation. On top of this, we have a new equipable fire foam pack that releases in the proximity of fires. When you start the game, colonists now have starting possessions based on their backstory. The notes seem to infer that this is intended to help balance, but does this mean that the press pawns now start with flake? Who knows, but it will be interesting to see how they implement it. And let's finish up with utility. We finally got a new mod manager UI. You can finally save and load mod loadouts and mass unsubscribe to outdated or disabled mods. I can't tell you how many times I've struggled to recreate my mod list, and this is a super awesome change to see. Rimworld now has a heat overlay in game that gives an easier view of the heat indoors and outdoors, and a search bar and a quest log. And the best feature of the patch, you can now use a cut all blight command to deal with blight. You can also use a build hopper command to build hoppers for a nutrient paste dispenser. This eliminates so much mental anguish and confusion. And that's it. There are a bunch of small changes like pyros are happy around fire, but I wanted to keep it short and sweet on the current information we have. I'm sure there's a lot more information that's going to be coming out, so if you want to watch me cover that in the future, consider subscribing. Anyways, thanks for watching.